Call of Duty's newest patch notes are out today, and this is for covering Warzone Reloaded and Season 1 Reloaded and all of that coming out tomorrow. And it's kind of odd, isn't it? Thursday isn't normally a release day, but it looks like Ravensoft and Treyarch are doing things a little different this time around. And one of the things to note is we have some changes. So one of the things that we need to know is with the launch of the competitive season, not only are we getting a change to the points will now be awarded based on the skill level of the player versus the other player, but we're also allowing the people who are party to be able to join at any point with anybody else in their friends list and no longer going to be locked out by your tier, meaning bronze can play with platinum, and if the bronze player does well enough, they will level up into platinum eventually. I think it's a great start for players that don't have as much time to play, myself, versus some of my friends who play ranked 24/7. But then let's get into the second part of all this, which is the COD updates for our Warzone stuff coming tomato. I think that's part of all this. So one of the things we're going to get into is they are actually going through and doing a lot of changes. ARs are getting an increase to their bullet velocity. It says it's needed, and honestly, it pretty much is. The ARs are going to be extremely dominant now because of all that. They have nerfed the BP-50 Jack Revenger, which is the last of the conversion kits for the ARs or any SMGs that is doing any good damage. So that's gone. The DIT tier is getting hit pretty hard. C9 Striker or C9 Compact are getting buffed. Striker and Static are getting nerfed. C9 coming out of this pretty well. The leg modifier going from 7.7 to 9 is actually pretty sufficient. And then the Compact 92 doing really well. Headshots are one less to kill, and they're also buffing the torso and lower torso, meaning that it will be just overall more consistent on its damage. Striker and Static took major hits to a lot of its points. Most of all, what happened is the Striker just doesn't do as much to each area, and it's slower. And then it says this gives the same number of bullets to kill, but makes it so you have to hit a few more headshots to get a faster TTK. So overall, Static stays mostly the same for most players, but higher skilled players are going to see a nerf to the Static. LMGs are getting all of their chest times buffed and most of their torso and leg stuff buffed as well. And then, of course, the RAW is being nerfed to the floor. 45 to 25, this thing will be probably mostly useless. It'll be somewhat usable if you're landing headshots, but mostly no one should ever try to use this thing again, and it's probably for the best. Honestly, at this point, I think they should have just got rid of Modern Warfare 2 and 3 weapons altogether and not had done any of this integration anymore. All the Black Ops marksman rifles have the reload speed increased. All the Black Ops SMGs have had theirs increased. ARs have already had theirs increased, and all the shotguns are getting increased as well. So pretty much everything except for snipers, what are constantly getting nerfed, have been buffed on its reloads. The Lockwood 300's dual trigger has been nerfed. It now functions as a reminder of a sadness of the past in which this gun was somewhat functional, but it's always been frustrating, so it's fine. They fixed the SPX, which now allows it to one-shot inside of its maximum damage range, which it wasn't doing before. So this one is going to be still mostly useless because its stats are pretty terrible. Updated SMG sizes to be larger than 30 rounds for all the SMGs. Cool. Quality of life things for the weapons you come in with from the sky will no longer be marked custom. They will be now rarity based on the number of attachments, which is good. Reduced reverb effect volume on Urzikstan. Don't know what that's going to really do. And then there is a ton of bug fixes. The bug fixes cover a bunch of different stuff here and there. Akimbo attachments have been disabled for Black Ops 6 weapons. They still work. I don't know why they keep saying it does. That's been still working. And then when we start getting into a lot of the other things, most of everything is pretty low impact. They fixed the ability to run 2 of the hack contracts simultaneously or up to 4. So you'll not get a large chunk of money at the same time, but you will get some money here and there. They're adding in all of the new holiday stuff. Well, the first holiday rush mode and sleigh ride things, I think those are coming even later on in the season. We'll be getting access to the AMR in an event, the Maelstrom in an event, the Compacts burst, and the XM4 burst, and the Cleaver. All these are in events, so we're hopefully going to be able to get a hold of them pretty quickly. These says attachments, which obviously it turns the Compact into a 3-round burst and the XM4 into a 3-round burst, but I think the previous statements were that it was showing that you unlock them as part of events. So those will probably be just slotted in there with the rest of the stuff as well. So in-season, event awards. Mostly the big thing to note out of all of this is something that they actually didn't put on here. They put it on their Twitter. They're actually reducing the movement sway bob of your weapons, which originally was supposed to be fixed by dexterity. Dexterity does nothing, so I guess they're just reducing it all across the board, and then dexterity should double down on it. So your slide movement of your camera, your jump movement of your camera, and all that stuff is going to be a little bit less. The sway movement whenever you're going left and right on your strafe should be less, meaning mostly this is a very massive buff for keyboard and mouse players because aim assist has a tendency to stay on targets anyways, no matter how much you're bobbing. But when you're on keyboard and mouse, you have to actually actively track that thing. So this is going to be a massive buff for keyboard and mouse players. I hope it's wonderful for you. And they're making it so that all snipers start with 0 sway, and then they scale up to the sway that we're dealing with, meaning you will no longer be required to run a target laser, but you can run a target laser if you want to, so the sway timer is a little bit longer. Overall, it's just a quality of life bug that is being fixed. And so with all of this, realistically, not much is changing. All these buffs and nerfs are just getting rid of a few outliers and just overall just increasing bullet velocities on a lot of things and reload speeds. We're still dealing with a lot of issues on mantle, jump, and climb, and a lot of the ability to utilize things. So a lot of that is still going to be problematic. And of course, none of that matters if they don't work on their servers. I'm really hoping that by the end of this patch, we're going to see a massive update to their servers, because as of right now, servers and anti-cheat are our biggest problems. Thank y'all for checking out the video. These are obviously the patch notes for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and put this up today. It'll be live for you tomorrow too. Hopefully this helps. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, peace.